to record it. So in order to, okay, so now I turn on the recording mode. And today we will learn a lot about um, the preference. So it's kind of something related with your choices. In your life, of course, we have many kind of choices. So even in our academic life, or even in our daily life, in our career, in our probably about our futures, about our preference on future, I mean, the vacations, how you would spend your holiday, how a kind of food. So here, for examples, when someone asks you which do you prefer, Indonesian movie or a Western movie like from Netflix, for examples. So in case of me, uh, it has been probably several years I did not watch Indonesian movie. So, but just okay, I appreciate the quality of Indonesian movie, but it just I just don't like it much. So sometimes just watch a couple, particularly the movie that is streaming through the you see the here, for example, like from television. It's quite silly for me, so I don't like it. And this is my favorite one, TV series. This is Stranger Things. I guess that all of you are also quite familiar with this Netflix series. So this is a very famous movies, and I love it. So but in my family, we also have a different preferences. For example, my mother-in-law loved to watch this one from Indonesian television instead of Western movie. So it's kind of our preference. And we also sometimes have another preferences. Sorry, this one, for example, about your music style. It is also different between one person to another. That well, some people love dangdut, for example, but some people love jazz music or love pop music or even heavy metal or even instrumental, classic, and many kind of the music. So it is also related to the preferences. We have our particular preferences that could be same with others or could be particularly different, distinctively. So yeah, probably you also love, for example, Roma Irama, the kings of dangdut of Indonesia. But I prefer to, I prefer Mr. Bubble to Roma Irama because Miko Bubble, he is a famous jazz singer. And also about the designs of the room, for example, also about the preferences. So if you come to someone room, I mean someone home, your teachers, your friend, for example, or your relatives, you will directly understand about the preferences of such homeowner. Here, you see this as a kind of yeah, glamorous with many kind of properties like this, with the very shiny color and see the on the floor to make kind of the colorful types. You can find this type of the home style, interior styles in many home, even in your family as well, or even yourself love this type. But many people also love to choose design as a simplicity, kind of minimalism and interior designs, including me. So for our home, I love to design it to be minimalisms with a very limited color, and I love the gray, the white one. So it's quite different with other, but we also can make this type of preferences here that this is industrial style. They love to put a kind of something like unfinished design like this, and majority of the contents of such a room, probably composed by wood, or even by this brick, for example, with unfinished brick. So it's quite different with the previous, like this one, the minimalisms, or even this one. And this is also, so this is typically my favorite room. uh Not for this chair. So it's quite, so our preferences, talking about the preferences, it could be very particular, very specific for every people. So you probably will choose this style of lamp, but you don't like this one, for example, and you love this one, but you don't love this background, and you love this curtain, or you probably hate these tables. In case of me, I had this chair. So even in only one rooms, we also have our favorite, our preferences in choosing such as the designs and the color and the compositions and also the materials itself, and also about the food. So I, when I was in Japan, like 2000, oh yeah, early 2013, I arrived in Japan, and I rarely taste a kind of the sushi before, and therefore, since I arrived in Japan, I try to consume it. So I try to purchase it, because sometimes the price is quite affordable, and therefore I purchase it. And also in during the party, because there were many parties in our laboratory, my laboratory, in my department. So probably about 3 or 4 parties every month. They hold many parties because Japanese love parties, but please consider that the party is not, the very strange party according to me, because they spend a lot of time in the party. They, for example, in our case, when we have like uh you know a culinary party, for example, we just gather together with our friend in the cafeteria, and we just talk there and eating, and then it should be finished about 3, or probably the longest one only 4 hours, right? But for Japanese party, they will spend like an entire time for the party. So in our laboratory, when they hold a party, that was my experience. They hold a party starting at like 6 p.m., and then it has been like 8 p.m. Then I said, "Oh, could I leave it?" So my professor said, "No, you couldn't. So you have to eat it, sushi and many kind of menu." So in that party, I said, I'm so sorry that actually the menu is not mine. It's not my favorite. So I love Indonesian culinary cuisines like this instead of this one that tastes strange for me. That's kind of the preferences. We have a particular preferences. So until today, even I had stayed in Japan for 4 years until 2017. So I returned back to Indonesia at 2017, and I just, okay, I couldn't eat this one. But for Indonesian sushi, I mean, we also adapt the sushi, right? And some Indonesian restaurant, I mean, Japanese restaurant in Indonesia, try to modify related to the preferences of Indonesian towns, and they sometimes modified it. So sometimes I love to eat it, not so delicious, but yeah, it's quite edible for me about the sushi from Indonesia, because they proceed it in a different way. That is a preference. And also about the music, for example. Hopefully we can play this one. So you may love this one, for example. Some people love uh traditional. It's not traditional. It's local music, right? Instead of international music. But we also could probably uh, let's listen to this one. So it's also music style preferences. So this is instrumental music, the classical music, and also this is music from South Sumatra. I'm sorry. Why I couldn't make it back. I'm sorry. So this one music from yeah. So it's Matra, the kind of the instrumental music using only guitar and kind of, I don't know, it's kind of a violin probably. And then also probably you will love this one. Uh, so many kind of music. We have a very specific preferences in our. So it's kind of a pop music, for example, Western, the Kalim Scott. So it depends on us. Our preferences may reflect who we are and what what is our preferences and different aspect of life. So it's just kind of illustrations, and also um, instead of in our general preferences, like I previously described, I explained to you. So through my slide, so we also may have a specific preferences like this. When you decide, for example, after you graduate from biology department, then you will have an opportunity to continue to aspire a master degree or even your PhD degree. You will have particular difference whether you will choose Harvard University or National University of Singapore or even other universities like Brisbane or Oxford, for example. So that's kind of the preferences that should be that is different. I mean, particularly different with the previous kind of like the music and also the food that you love. It's quite different kind of the preferences you love about where you will end up for your master degree or your degrees in economy. So today that topic is preferences. So as I have previously explained to you that also through the I have sent an audio file and you have listened it. You have learned about listening and also as well as understanding about the descriptions about what is general and what is specific preferences. So related to the general, it is our preferences about something that is reflect our nature's preferences. So it is not tied to a specific event or time. What is that? It's about hobbies and food preferences, like your music style, and also your preferences in interior designs, like whether you love the minimalism or whether you love a kind of glamorous room or industrial style. That's kind of a general preferences. That's something in common you have. So something that it's your common like, whether it doesn't depend on situations, like for example, depend on the day, depend on the country. So it's not tied to a specific event or time. Like your food preferences, for example, like I have described it, I have taught it to you before that I did not love eating sushi, so I prefer rice to sushi. So better than sushi, I prefer it. But different with the specific preferences is something you like or want more at a given point in time. So it's kind of uh, depend on time or situations. It's different with the general. It is independent with a time or even situations. So something you like one more at a given point in time, and it could change. So it is something conditional, depend on situations. So let's say for general preferences, it is used to express that you like something more than something else. So you compare both two kind of things. Let's say that's thing or yeah, it's a kind of noun. So the formula is when you want to express about your general preferences, you use this formula, but there are two formula. So you may just use one, prefer plus noun, to plus noun, or like plus noun plus better than plus noun. So you compare only two kind of noun, and the noun is about your preferences. So about the thing, about the designs, about the music. So in subject, for examples, I prefer biochemistry to genetics. I prefer biochemistry to genetics. So we may put prefer here, put prefer here, and then biochemistry is noun to genetic. It is mean yet that you love biochemistry more than genetics. And then you also could use this formula, like I like biochemistry better than genetics. Or in this case, I like listening jazz better than singing dangdut. Or in reverse, I like listening Roma Irama better than Michael Bublé, for example. That's kind of it. But so remembers when you express the general preferences, kind of your hobby, kind of your food taste, a kind of your your test, kind of the define of you, you should use this formula. You should use a comparison up to now. Listening jazz and singing dangdut. So listening jazz is not a kind of verb, right? It's kind of noun. Listening jazz is a gerund. I guess that you have learned about gerund. Gerund is a verb that has a function, is noun. So you like listening jazz better than singing dangdut, or you prefer listening jazz to singing dangdut. This also, for example, I prefer rendang to sandwich. I, I think so that commonly Indonesian people love to eat rendang instead of eating sandwich. Yes, sandwich is a Western diet. Then you may also express using this one. I like eating rendang better than sandwich. Why we should erase the eating? Because in the first part we have put eating is I like eating rendang better than. So you don't have to put eating again. It's kind of redundant. Something that you did more. I'm sorry, it's kind of fly. So I like eating rendang better than sandwich, or I prefer rendang to sandwich. That's kind of when you express about your food taste. It's kind of a general preferences. And what about the specific preferences? So the specific preferences are related with a kind of, for example, upon your graduation from Andalas University from biology department, and then you will decide whether you will choose staying home with your parents or you will work. Or for example, you are a woman, then you will decide whether you will aspire your career in working, or you will be the housewife, for example, staying homes, caring your family. So it's kind of specific preferences. Let's see here. So there is a certain type. If you want to express what your preference, specific preferences, here what is the functions of this preference expression is to describe the presence and future preferences. So it particularly describe about your preferences. So the formula it should be different. It's not like comparing up to noun, but see here, would prefer plus infinitive. What is infinitive is you two plus but one. Let's see here, for example, I would prefer to study in Harvard. I would prefer to study in Harvard, or I would prefer to study in Oxford University or University of Oxford. I would prefer to stay in London, for example. So it's kind of your preferences. You express your preferences, your specific preferences in present situations or in futures without comparing with another. Like I would prefer to study in Harvard than, so there is no kind of a comparison. So it just express about your preferences that you have a tendency to continue your study to, for example, in Harvard in the sentence. And please notice that I would could be contracted to be I apostrophe in D, so it's called it oit. So oit prefer to study in Harvard. We may also express kind of that. Another sentence, see here that in the positive sentence, I would prefer to study with you. Then I prefer not to study with you. Remember, when you transform such a positive to be negative sentence, you did not, please don't put not after would. So it will be wrong if you put I would not prefer. But if you want to transform to be negative sentence, then you just put not after prefer. I prefer not to stay with you. And if you want to transform it to be interrogative sentence, kind of a question sentence, then you just put would in front of such sentence. Would you prefer to stay with me? That's kind of the formula when we want to describe about our present or future preferences. So about general preferences previously we have talked, and also this one, it's got something that describing you about your present or future preferences. It's related to your own preferences. And also we have another type of preferences. This one, oh, the preferences that describe that to want to do one thing more than another thing in the present or future situations. So the formula is, see here that would prefer, then plus infinitive, plus rather than, and plus but one. Remember, after prefer, you have to use the infinitive. So it describes that your uh, tendency or your choices that you want to do one thing more than another thing. So it is related with infinitive kind of verb, and this is also verb. So different with the general preferences comparing noun. And this is comparing the verb. This here the sentence, I would prefer to stay with my parents rather than go to abroad. So here would prefer here, and then to stay. So infinitive is a two plus verb one, two, and verb stay. Stay is verb one, and then rather than and plus verb one, go. So go to abroad, for example. So this is my story. In my sentence, also when it was about in the mid of I forget about it, 2016, I think, that my co-supervisor, he was actually just recently coming back from Oxford, from UK. So he has stayed probably more than 10 years in Oxford, become teachers there and become researchers in biology department in Oxford University of Oxford. And then during the interactions, because he was very kind, even he was very smart and as well. So this recently that he is a professors in Fukushima Medical University. But when I was in Jichi Medical School, he was also a staff and researchers at Jichi Medical Schools, and he was my co-supervisor. So she taught me that when I prefer to uh, pursue my postdoc. Do you know kind of postdoc? So postdoc is I'm sorry. So my postdoc will kind of, I'm sorry that we may running up time, right? I'm sorry. I'm sorry that it disappeared. Probably when the screen stopped, I didn't know it with uh my account for the Zoom, because I have the premium account, but it is probably has a limited access right now. I don't know because probably. So when for example we have to finish this meeting due to the zooms, then we have to I will try to make it again for the 4 minutes later. So we have two sessions afterwards, so don't worry. So this is my story. So my that was my co-supervisor asked me if I someday decide to continue to pursue my postdoc. A postdoc is when you have accomplished your PhD degree, your doctoral degree, then you also have an opportunity to, you know, continue your programs about 2 or 3 years, or as a postdoc. So postdoctoral programs. So this professor he offered me to pursue my postdoc in Oxford, but then I just decide, uh, I said I would prefer to go back to Indonesia rather than take a postdoc in Oxford. So that was my choice, and I consider that is my best choice in my life. So instead of pursuing my postdoc in Oxford, that also probably will be better for my academic career. But then I decide to, I prefer to go back to Indonesia and then starting, married my wife and then starting my family, and now I live with my adorable princess right now. So it's kind of our preferences, our specific preferences. But in alternatively, we also could express of our preference in this formula. Like you just put would rather plus verb one, then verb one. Or would prefer plus infinitive, two verbs, verb one, then verb one. So here it is. For example, I'd rather chat than call by phone. So it's kind of your preferences. I would rather chat. So verb one is chat, then call by phone. It is meant that you love to chat instead of calling by phone. And then also this one, I would prefer to chat than call by phone. So when you use rather, you don't have to put to in front of the word, in front of the verb. I mean, but one. So I would rather but one chat than call by phone. But if you use a prefer, I would prefer, then you have to use infinitive. Two plus but one, then call by phone. The meaning is the same, that you love to do chatting, you love to chat, then call. This kind of also expression here. So there's teachers try to express a kind of that this sentence. I'd rather kill adults than children. So what's wrong with this sentence? So it is also related to the preferences, right? So yeah, in the structures we should remove this apostrophe. So it's kind of plural of adults. So you don't have to put this one, this symbols one. So I rather kill adults than children. That's kind of a kind of joke only actually. So we may also use these expressions. I rather kill adults than children. Okay. Here, please here, notice here when you use the similar activity, similar a kind of the verb, you don't have to put it again because it's kind of redundancy. So just remove it. I rather kill adults than children. Instead of I rather kill adults than kill children. So you don't have to put it. And then you may also express it with this one. I prefer to kill. So remember, rather kill and to kill. Or this one, you put the different kind of activity. I rather kill adults than kiss them. So of course you have to put this verb kiss because kiss is not kill, different. So you don't have to remove a kind of the verb in this sentence, verb one. And so this is the latest one, a kind of the preferences. So the general types and the specific types of preferences that previously two kind of the preferences, right? All of those preferences expressed about you, about your preferences about yourself. But in this type, it is specifically describe about our preferences for the actions of another persons. So it is related with our preferences about another, about your friends, for example, about your parents, about your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your teachers, and someone else. So it's describe about your preferences. So in positive poem, so this is formula. You, if you want to express about your preferences that you expect that someone acts like that, so you use this formula: would prefer, and then object pronoun and infinitive. What is object pronoun? Is a kind of pronoun for another persons or another thing, another animals. Here you can see that that's in the positive sentence. I would prefer. I would prefer him. So this is subject pronoun. Him, her. So it's kind of that. Children and my mother, for example. I would prefer him to sit up. So I would prefer him to not to sit up. So if you want to put to transform it to be the negative one, negative sentence, then you please remember, don't put would not. That should be changed. So I would prefer him not. So after prefer and object pronoun, then not. I would prefer him not to sit up. And then if you want to transform it to be interrogative sentence, then just put it like this: I would you prefer him to sit down? So it's kind of your preferences about our preferences for the actions of another persons. So I think that's all of our explanations of my explanation related to the preferences. I will share this slide with you, and I also will also will share this recording of our lectures to use, and hopefully that you could also use it in your daily expressions when you talk with your friends in the lectures, in very formal situations, or even in your very casual situations, like when you are talking in cafeteria with your friends, and for example a server asks you which food do you prefer. So you said that you prefer kind of this drink instead of this drink, so you love it, and let's compare with other. So you may use this kind of preferences expressions in many kind of situations. But remember, when it is about your common like, your common tendency, your common preferences, you will use a kind of general preferences. But when it is about something quite specific about your job, for example, or about your decisions to study abroad or study in Indonesia, or about pursue your career, or about your decisions after you graduate from biology department later, for example, you will use specific preferences to express it. And remember, in the specific preferences, there are also two kinds of expressions that you may also express about your own tendency, about the activity you want to do, or and also you may compare, you may express about your expectations or your preferences about somebody else's actions. So that's all a kind of when we will use a kind of expressions correctly in our conversations. So I think that's all for today. Even in very short way, I expect that you will learn it hotly and will continue to really understanding, and try to practice it in your daily conversations. And as I told previously, probably from our first time meeting in this lecture, that I said that if you learn about language, new language like in English, for example, or any kind of language in the world, please involve yourself. Live your life with such language. You have to practice speaking in that language, and you have to apply any kind of the new subject you have learned. For examples, previously we learned about a conditional sentence. Then you will apply it into, you will practice it, practice to pronounce it, practice to ask it with your friend, and practice it in listening and reading, also in writing. And also today we learn about the preferences. Then you could also try to express it through with yourself, like in front of the mirror, and you ask yourself, which do you prefer, the beautiful one or the smartest one? So it's probably about your future wife or future husband, for example, whether you will, when you will face with kind of decisions, whether you will choose the handsome one, but it's not smart, or you will choose the smartest, even only the is not the handsome ones. It's kind of differences. Try to practice in speaking. Try to practice to live your life with English, and then I think it could significantly elevate your proficiency in many kind of thing. And one of beneficial thing is speaking in many language, even in traditional language, in our national language, and also in foreign language, like you will understand the English a lot. It will improve your also ability to adjust your flexibility in thinking. So it is kind of the beneficial thing when you have uh, the proficiency, the great proficiency in speaking in many language. And also about the, I think the beneficial thing about the studying English is, or having proficiency in speaking in English, is also kind of yeah, something precious, something that is a word to learn, because in your future life you will be able to apply easily for your scholarship in pursuing your higher degree, like your master degree abroad, and also your postdoc. I mean, the PhD degree and postdoc as well. And also when you will apply for a job vacancy, and then they may interview you using foreign language, particularly English. So try to be involved in English lessons by yourself, and practice it. It's kind of it's the similar one. That knowledge is kind of the something that when you learn how to drive, how to ride bicycles, it is the same way when you learn about the new language. Without directly practicing in riding bicycles, you will never be able to ride your bicycle by yourself. It's quite the same also when you learn about English without practicing it, without directly pronounce such a word, without record your own in front of the camera and try to speak and try to listen with the native speaker, like watching movie or listening to the radio, English radio, and then you will never be able to speak proficiency in a very great, oh, capability of speaking such a language. So that is my message. Try to live your life with English or even another language. There are many opportunities for you, since that you are now still in the first year and the first semester of your life in university. It is mean that you are, you will uh, face many kind of a challenge for yourself, and try to improve that by speaking in international language. So thank you very much for your attendance today, and thank you very much for your also understanding on hopefully that you will understand about the frequencies and about conditional sentence. And see you probably next semester with Medic. I don't know. Okay, thank you very much. And related with our final exams, I did not print it yet, so I don't know when we will take the final exam. Have you I bet that I have shared the schedule for our final exams on your in our WhatsApp groups, so you also have notice about the day of our final exams in English. And probably I will offer you kind of that questions, or probably multiple choices about the preferences and conditional sentence. This you just probably transform a kind of the conditional sentence type 1 to conditional type 3, or in reverse. And also probably you will see kind of the transcript of conversations, and then you will decide of the kind of the correct one for the preferences. So that's kind of the questions that you will face in your final exams for the English. So thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, sir. Assalamualaikum
Thank
warahmatullahi
you very much,
wabarakatuh.
sir.
Waalaikumsalam
Warahmatullahi
warahmatullahi
wabarakatuh.
wabarakatuh.